All right, cool. Hold on, wait. Maybe we should tilt this. Ha, bam. Welcome to the Cult of Personality podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Mikeymcchoppa, and with me today is Warren K. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm chilling, bro. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm about to hit this bong rip on camera, and then after that, we're about to have a great interview.
Yes, sir.
Um, but overall, I'm good. I just woke up. I got work after this. We were just talking about this before. Um, but life is great. Grateful. Hell yeah. We're here.
Definitely.
And now that
Yes,
we're
sir.
recording the pod, I'm even happier because this is what I love to do. So, yeah, man. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you, bro. I'll let you hit that real quick. And I was just gonna say, I was put on to you from the Tromster. I've worked with him a couple times. He's a good friend of mine. And then from there, I peeped that interview, and then I peeped the Fish Narc interview, and then I peeped the legendary Mikeymcchoppa interview. So I would say I've done my research a little bit. I know what I'm getting myself into, and I would say I like your interviews, bro.
Thank you, bro. Not to give a moment of silence for those listening. I just
Yeah.
took a fat bong rip. Um, no, thank you, bro. You're the first person to actually like show like you gave some sort of insight to the pod before you hopped on. And
Mm.
that's not shade to anybody else, but nobody ever really be like, yeah, I was watching and X, Y, and Z, People kind of just find it from one episode and they'll ask for an interview, which is fine, Like that's the way the game works. But thank you for like taking the time to like really research in the pod and like I guess take or like even take the time to analyze like my interviewing skills or anything like that.
Yeah, man, it was really cool. And I saw like a lot of similarities, I would say, between your story and mine, and we'll definitely get into that. But it was
Hell
cool.
yeah.
And
Bef-
we're around the same age, so
Awesome. Hell yeah, man. Yeah, thank you for watching the interview, the McChoppa interview too. That was fun. Even though I was very protective, it was cool to give insight on myself because I kind of keep myself a mystery besides like, what I'm currently doing. So what was I gonna say? But how do you become cool with the Trumpster before we move on from that topic?
I'll keep it brief. But really, I mean, I remember in high school I stumbled upon the song Lethargy, and I really love that song, even though I know he's not a big fan of it, or at least he's progressed so much in his career that he doesn't really give himself as much credit for
That
that
was his
song.
that was his song with Suicide Boys, right?
Uh, and I heard that shit, and I was really a fan of his verse on that shit and his hook and like the part where it goes lower on that shit too. I just love that whole entire song, and so I just hit him up, asked him for a feature, bought a song. I had got some beats from Phony Wallace at the time, and that was actually on the tape "What a Night for Delight," which was like the first body of work that I dropped on SoundCloud.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, so that's cool, man. A fucking Phony Walls produced Trumpster feature on your first project on SoundCloud. Those are pretty cool accolades. Speaking of the Trumpster, before we move on from him and such, it's so funny that man, this is why you need to research artists before you interview. And obviously not like I don't take it too literal, like people watching, but like how I approach the pod is that I like learn about people as I interview type shit to keep it fresh and to keep it funky rather than me know everything and then kind of bullet point ask. But with the Trompster, before like he was a Trompster when he was J Trauma and stuff like that, I didn't know he was on one of like my favorite songs throughout like all of high school. You ever heard Apparition Love or some shit? Pete
Definitely,
fucking yeah. I did
yeah.
I the fucking after I interviewed him, I had that shit on and I'm reading the title and I'm like J Trauma, that sounds familiar. Da da da. Fucking I interviewed him. Shout out Trompster overall. That's what I
Mm.
want to say. But hell yeah, man. Those are fucking like that's a dope trophy on your wall or a cool like head on the wall, however the expression goes with both of those. And
Mm.
so congratulations on that, man.
And to be honest, I look at it as a lot more than just like a trophy on the wall with him,
Of
because
course.
I was gonna say like in high school when I found him, I was just like a really big fan, and I'm a really big fan of just him, his character, just what he is, kind of this like wrestler, rapper, and he has such a big discography.
Hell
And
yeah.
I love artists that have such a big discography and have worked with like a wide variety of people in the underground and have crazy credits like that and like that are still out here doing it and evolving their sound and becoming so much bigger. and better than they were, or evolving their sound and keeping that discography up. So
Hell yeah. I mean, he's been doing it for a decade. He's fucking passionate. His shit's fire. He's super creative. It's dope that you can be a fan of someone like that and then have the opportunity to collaborate with them, you know?
yeah, and we actually have another song. We got two. Well, we have two released right now. I was gonna say most of the stuff on my SoundCloud right now. I don't know when this interview is gonna be released, but I would say like most of the stuff that's on my SoundCloud right now isn't really an accurate representation of, I would say, my music, because there's like a whole entire years worth of music that I haven't dropped, that I've like put aside right now, that I'm like doing the back end work to like get all that stuff mixed and like advertising, promotion, and anything. But
Right.
I will just say for right now, I'm actually gonna be dropping a song with Tromster on a new, or it's like basically it's like the third trilogy of that tape, or like the same tape over and over again. It's kind of like a sorry, we're kind of like talking. But
No, man.
we're getting off the, I know, kind of like, I like how
We-
you do like the five questions or whatever. So
Yeah, but no, it's fine. You can keep going because
um
there's no like structure to this shit, you know? I can ask that question when we're half an hour in, an hour in. It's just how we roll.
definitely. And so yeah, so like in this EP, it's just two songs. And honestly, it's just like an interesting story with all these trilogies, but I'll keep it brief. But like the first one was made when I was like in high school, and I just kind of felt like, I was like so engulfed in like this underground shit.
Hmm.
And I didn't really like, I mean, I had friends and shit, but they, like I was like done with the party, and I was done with like all that. I wanted to like focus on this shit like heavy. And like, I mean, I've been rapping since I was 13. I think you said you've been rapping since you were 14, right? Like
Yep.
making music and shit. So I mean, this goes back. I've had other aliases, but I kind of just like to keep it as far as like in present tense of like Warren K, like that current alias or whatever. And we can go into the, a couple questions or whatever, like into the past or whatnot. But basically, like that tape was just about like being in my room and just like being fucking high and like just doing my shit and like just making music and like collabing with Phony, and like, just kind of felt like I was on some shit and like, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and
Hell yeah.
so it was like the third trilogy, I would say, or like the third part of that tape.
That's awesome, man. It's really cool that you kind of put so much effort into your discography, like to where you have like a trilogy and it's like you're very structured guy. Like I feel like you were very what's the word? Prepared.
Yeah, and something I wanted to add too is like, about Tronster, and we'll get into another artist that I really am a fan of, that I think represents this type of title, but like Curb Lagoop. I know you know who Curb Lagoop is. Like those two artists in general, Curb has a huge discography. Love Curb Lagoop. He's, amazing artist, one of the, like honestly one of the most unique artists in the underground. But they just have such big discographies, and they just have such a character, and like, every tape is like, you know, like Goopland, or like, like certain like things that just go so well with like their names and like their discography and their music, and it just like builds this whole different type of vibe. You know what I mean?
Like larger than life.
Mm. Or more, I
Mhm.
honestly would like classify as more like a superhero. Not necessarily that I look at these dudes. I mean, they are like superheroes, I guess, like of just listening to music over the years or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
it's like a superhero where you like look up to somebody, but they kind of just live in your head, and they like live in your phone.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
I mean, that's kind of like yeah, I was just watching a something about this the other day with like fuck, I don't even remember what it could have been. But it pretty much had to do with like celebrities having like, like just celebrities in general having like little cult of personalities, no pun intended. And it's kind of funny how that works with artists. And we kind of like, I think, project our own perception of them onto them. And that perception is obviously exaggerated compared to what people really are, and also because they present that way as an artist and they try to. So it's really cool. And I always like that because it's like showmanship on top of the music.
mm,
I even you right now wearing this mask, I think is so dope because it's like even if you're just doing it to conceal your identity, it's like showmanship. It has like character, it adds like it adds
yeah,
pizzazz to the
yeah,
whole thing.
definitely. It's a little bit like mysterious. It's like not giving everything up all at once, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think it also like kind of does like goes into like I think a lot of people some days are like so obsessed with like involving themselves with their music,
Mm-hmm.
and they like don't really know that like fine line between like themselves as a
Right.
person and like them as an artist, and like and then they're like very, I don't know, like they like want to, I don't know, and then it kind of gets like corny, I guess, sometimes when you really think about it, like because like you're just like this person, they're like, oh, you're just Joe Schmo that I knew from high school, bro, like settle down, you know, like like, you know what I mean? But like when you can
Yeah.
kind of like when you can kind of like a good, another good example I would say is like Lil Darky, who, you know, like has kind of has like a whole different, you know, he's got his like his art and like his image and all that, like um, you know, like I really just like when artists go above and beyond and don't make it about just like me. You know what I mean? Like as a person, I guess you could
Right.
say.
Hell yeah, man. And it's cool to even discuss it because like I know people definitely can struggle with that as an artist. I've even struggled with that, like the finding the line between artist and person and kind of like having trouble making music because of that. But
Mm.
hell yeah, it's dope when you make it beyond yourself, you know? Because who wants to be the full target? I mean, some people love that shit. Some people make all their music about what's going on in their day to day and like kind of like them very vulnerable. And that's just how they work. But like, I don't know. I don't function that way. And it seems like you don't function that way either when it comes to like wanting people to know like the deep shit, you know, like the super, you know?
Yeah, I would definitely say there's like a barrier between me and like, you know, the whole thing, you know, and like you know, it's like I don't want to like I really like the structure and like you know, I know how it is like when you're interviewing people or whatever, and then like they get off topic and then you're like you kind of have this like scrambled, you know what I mean? But um yeah, and I think there's definitely kind of like a barrier between me and like being on stage and like me being in front of all these people, and like I'm like very shy. Like I have social anxiety and I don't like to be the center of attention, which
Right.
is very like very weird as an artist, like, you know, like it's like you should be the center of attention, I guess, if, you know.
Well, I mean, we've had great artists who do the same, like MF Doom, you
Yeah,
know,
definitely, definitely.
like, you know, just finding a way to compromise with that side sort of anxiety or attention that comes with,
Mhm.
or beyond and stuff like that. But I feel like it's time for the
Yeah,
question you've been
here we
waiting
go.
for, the question I've been waiting for, question you've been waiting for. No, overall, just because we're getting into all the good shit, I'm like, let me ask this question because I feel like a lot of what you were gonna go into is gonna coincide with what this question requires anyway.
Definitely.
So, Warren K, the name, the image, the aura, and the energy. How did it start? How are we all the way over here in 2023? And everything in between, kind of like your whole origin story. Give it to us.
Definitely. And I was gonna say, as we go, you gotta like repeat the because there's like certain things that come to mind when you like say different words. But
Of
like as far
course.
as the name, like I won't give it up too much, but like Warren is part of my name.
Hmm.
And then so it's definitely like my name, kind of flipped around in certain ways.
Okay.
And then I also really like it because sorry, I'm getting the hiccups here. But
No
I
worries.
really like it because it definitely has like a 1920s, like 1930s, like type of like old name. And I guess I've always kind of felt like an old soul in some ways. Like I like to like a really big genre that I like make a lot of beats on, or like, you know, samples or whatnot, is like 1920s, 1930s jazz and shit like that, like 1940s like swing.
Wow, maybe you and I need to be in touch on
Yeah.
a collaborative level because that sounds so fire. Anywho, continue. Didn't mean to interrupt.
But nah, yeah, definitely, definitely. I was peeping your shit. I saw that you had a collab with Cole Hart, which I thought was hard as fuck.
Thank you.
So, but um, shit, where was I going with that? But yeah. So like Warren just kind of has like that old name aesthetic, and I think there's like when you look up Warren K, I actually have like a pretty good what's it called? Like computer, like internet presence. I would say like I'm good with the I'm in the and I'm in the system because you look, I'm like the first thing that pops up is like my SoundCloud. But then there's like this one dude named like a Warren K. Moon or something like that, which is really weird, bro. But he was like a I don't even know, like some kind of government entity or something like that. But like it just has like that old timey aesthetic. But
Hell yeah.
yeah. So the name and then
The image.
the image. Yes, yes, the image.
This one's
Ah,
always kind of tricky because sometimes people be like, I really don't have an image. I'm just me.
oh.
I'm like, you know what? I feel you. Me too. But, like, kind
Uh,
of like, yeah, take it however
yeah.
you want it. Go for it.
Nah, okay, so I'm definitely like a big horror movie fan, and
Beautiful.
not like really like new horror movies and shit, and like ghosts. Like I love like paranormal shit as well,
Right.
and I believe in ghosts and shit. I've seen ghosts, but like like Friday, Nightmare on Elm Street and like
Old slashers and
Friday,
shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like
I'm the same way. Please, I'm the same way. I'd be like, yeah, I like horror. I like slasher movies though. The old ones. It has to be. I'm a Texas Chainsaw guy.
mm, and like Halloween definitely, but like I would say like my two favorites are like no, those are my three favorites right there because like I feel like all those characters are like very just like they have such an image and they have such like definitely with the mask and stuff like that. And I think like, you know, I'll just get it out right now. Like with the mask stuff, like it all started because like I was just like very self-conscious and like when I like used to make music back in the day, like I had this like well, there's a long story. There's honestly a lot, bro. We could be here all day. Like we could be
I
here all
mean,
day,
I
but
mean, as long as you don't
it's
surpass 1 o'clock, it's what
yeah,
11:42. So
I feel that.
go for it.
Um, but anyway, I mean, I used to make music back in the day, like, and I was very like flashy with it. And I would say this is between the time like when I was like 13 to like 15. And so I would like, print out mixtapes and I would like hand them out at school. And like, I mean, beside like, I mean, there was always
Entrepreneur
people.
shit.
Yeah, definitely, bro. There was like always people in my hometown and like in my state that were like doing this shit before me. So I'm not trying to like proclaim that I'm like the first, but I was the first in my fucking class, dog. Like even probably like this from the up, like the next class up and the next class down, like bro, I was like it was unheard of, dude. So like it was kind of cool back in the day. People like gave me a lot of clout for that. And honestly, like they still give me clout for like doing that shit back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like and like I'm just, but they haven't seen me like you know what I'm saying. They haven't seen like what it's became,
Right.
which I love. But like anyway, it was just like a self conscious thing, and so I was just like MF Doom obviously always been a big inspiration, but like don't want to be like a dude that's just like an MF Doom ripoff or whatever. Like want to
Right.
be
Right.
my own thing. But like yeah, and so but then it like became more, and I was just kind of like, I think another thing too is like I think a lot of artists don't sit down and like really plot out what they want to be because I think that's like a big step in between me even like before making music or like you can like mess around and like find your sound or whatever, but like you got to like sit back and like create an image, I guess. And at least in my not like in that image needs to be like, um like who you are. You can't just like, I mean, you can make up a different character. I mean, you can be creative or whatever, but like, just like an honest image, but like something that can be like, this sounds horrible, but like marketable, you know. If you're just like like I keep saying Joe Schmo because I just don't know, like, but like if you're Joe Schmo, dude, like Joe Schmo is not marketable. Like no one cares about Joe Schmo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Unless Joe Schmo's really like really talented.
Well, that's facts. That's facts. But like I think on a other level, like on a deeper level, like people have really like good lyrics aren't enough anymore. Like being on flow isn't enough anymore.
Oh yeah,
Like
we live in a time where we're so based around, I think, like, between my cat just pulled my whole cord. Um between social media and how much more cameras there are and how much more accessible television and the internet is and stuff, everything's about looks way more than it is about content or anymore, like sound, like, and shit. So
mm,
I yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, and I'm definitely like I just want to clarify, like I'm not trying to get on the like the train of like, oh, I'm like unique and different, so like I'm better, but like it's more of like the opposite of like you just said, like trying to like go against the system and like just like not like get people to like step back for a second and be like, okay, like he's not showing his face and he's not like this isn't about all of him. It's like a I'm for the like, I want to be like for my fans and shit. And like I remember back in the day just like listening to SoundCloud and like how much those artists like meant to me and they didn't even know it. You know what I mean? Like meant the world to me, be listening to them every day and like just like getting me through the day and like just like changed my world or like just meant like made it okay to like, you just feel okay. Like everything's
Oh
gonna be
yeah.
all right. So I want
Oh
to be
yeah.
like there in that sense, for like the people and like I want to like kind of like not like I get back on like the superhero shit, but like I'm not trying to be a superhero, like I'm not like not trying to be a superhero, but like I want to like live on the internet. Like I want to live through the internet and like I want to be like bigger than just some dude that lives in this small town and like makes show tunes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I want to be like an idea, like you know what I'm saying?
I get you. I I get you. It's kind of funny how you articulate it so well. I mean, when I was living fucking all isolated in my parents' house, shit, bro. All I had was the internet. So I feel you trying to create like a larger than life thing beyond what your environment is and your surroundings are.
And I know I'm kind of like steering off topic, but I'll just say one more thing is now that we're kind of on like the Warren K image and shit is like one more thing is like I specifically remember, and this like has like a big part of like who Warren K is and like where I want my music to be enjoyed is
Right.
like I remember like as like hella young or whatever, or even like being like 14 or whatever, getting high or like 15 or whatever, like getting high and like watching Adult Swim at late at night. And so my parents would like go upstairs or whatever. I'd be like smacking the pen and just like watching Adult Swim. And like just like the old like beat commercials they used to have on Adult Swim were hella fucking sick and like lo-fi shit.
Hell
And then
yeah.
just like on top of the cartoons, like it just like created this kind of like vibe and like just like space in my head where it's just like one of the most comfortable, like just nostalgic, like places I've ever been to. And so after that, like after I'd get like bored of like watching cartoons and shit, I'd just like mute the TV and I'd just like go on SoundCloud and I'd listen to like Chester Watson, which is crazy because he actually ended up getting on Adult Swim on like this summer like they're like picking they do like this artist thing anyway like like promoting artists and shit but anyway like just listen to some underground shit like Grimdoza or like and then that would like create an even bigger type of like tie or like connection with like the sound that I wanted to make for my music. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Hell yeah, man. What was I gonna say? With speaking of the image and with the mask and stuff, what I wanted to ask or a question that popped in my head is would you ever consider switching up the mask or
Yeah, yeah.
s-
So,
oh my god, do we have more masks?
oh, bro, I'm obsessed with masks, honestly. But like, this is like the first, this the OG, right?
Okay. So we got like Mark 1 right here.
Sorry, my bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We're here. Hell yeah,
All right.
hell yeah.
So this is the OG, right?
Mark 1.
And then like what I got right now, like this is like just like the mobile shit. This is like so I can like do music videos or like just to do shit like this where you can actually like see a little bit of like if I went on this shit it would be like it'd
Yeah,
be sounding like
yeah,
all like whack. But then like the witch shit in my bio, that's like from see like that's from Halloween 3. I don't know if you know. But like and I just like I don't know, I really like witch shit like Scooby Doo and like I don't know, like Wiccan and like I don't know, man. I just think that shit's like not necessarily I'm into some like black dark magic shit or like anything like that, but like
no, yeah.
like just like the lore of like witches and shit. So like it's kind of like a new era, but like that era hasn't hit yet because the era needs to begin after I like am done dropping all this music.
Hell
So
yeah. Yeah, man, that's cool. Yeah, it's dope. I think it's so cool that you incorporate a mask into it. And if I'm excited to see what that evolves into as you evolve as an artist, you know? And have you ever listened or watched 21 Pilots?
I don't believe so, bro. Sorry.
No, yeah, because That like I was a big 21 Pilots fan like when I was a kid, and that's what their look used to be like 10 years ago, the balaclavas or whatever.
Mhm.
So I was just wondering to see if that was there. But
Oh, where?
like I was just wondering to see if like that connection was there, you know?
Mhm.
So hell yeah. But
Yeah, and
kind of like the aura and the energy, the those two parts of the question. I mean, it's kind of just like you and what
mhm.
you're trying to present, your essence, you know? How did you I mean, you kind of dabbled into it, but like take it how you want to take it. Go
Yeah,
for it.
and then I guess to like on the like really kind of I only have really like one more thing because I think what I just said like pretty much captures that question. But it's also like you ever seen Danny Phantom before?
Yeah.
And then yeah, so it's kind of like on some Danny Phantom shit. How like Danny like goes to school and he's not really shit and he gets like bullied and like no one really takes him seriously and he's just always just Danny Phantom, the weird kid, and his parents are weird and shit.
Right.
But then he's out here saving the town and like everyone's like, "Oh, Danny, like
Yeah,
we love
when
you."
he's the ghost.
Yeah, so then it's like, I think that's like a deeper message as far as kind of like what it is as far as like, like you can be so much bigger, like, so much bigger than the box that people want to put you in, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And then like another like type of example like that, I'm a big fan of Nickelodeon cartoons and like just everything cartoons, bro. But
Me
like
too.
like like Cosmo and like anti-Cosmo.
Yeah.
You know how like one of them's like Cosmo's just like the regular idiot dude, and then like anti-Cosmo's like the villain and like whatever. It's kind of like that too, where it's like, like me as a person, like I'm a lot more nice and like not so dark, and like my music's very dark and like, kind of on some like, we definitely have like the I'm better than you type of raps in there as well, like, that type of shit. But like I rap about a lot of shit and like try to really make it like personal and not just like words and shit. But like it's like that where it's like Warren K is like really like that the anti Cosmo of like who I am as a
Okay.
person. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like the anti me, like the anger, like the hate, the sadness, like those type of like negative emotions that come out of people sometimes.
Hell yeah. It's like yeah, there's hella at number one, there's hella cartoons that like I feel like also represent that like SpongeBob when he had his like green back or whatever. He had like or like Rick. We have Rick and Morty when
Yeah,
they had like the
bro.
toxic Rick and toxic Morty.
Bro, the SpongeBob with the like his abrasive side shit, like that's exactly, yeah, that's on some different shit as well.
Yeah. But there's also it's cool because there's also other artists who do that. Like I don't know if you ever heard of YNW Melly and he has Melvin or something like that. And I'm trying to think, there's so many other artists I know have that like alter ego thing going on, and that's the only one I can think of right now.
Mm.
But that's so dope. That's so dope. I think it's so cool to have that like duality though, because it's like even different perspectives in your music. And I don't know, I eat that shit up. I think that shit's cool. So that's what's
Mhm.
up. And that's again, it's very like I feel like you're very like and you even went into it before, like kind of like planning on being marketable and planning on being something like planning before anything. It's like you're very planned out. I feel like you have this vision.
Oh yeah. I agree with that, and like I think that shit just really came from like trial and error, and like I had to like fail like multiple times and like not get what I wanted multiple times for that to like manifest. You know what I'm saying? I would say like because like if I was to just like be the person like the alias I was like from the jump and like never like failed and never like wanted to try new things and like take a leap of faith and shit like that, like I wouldn't be as cool as I am. You know what I mean? Or like I'm not
Right.
like that sounds very ignorant, but like I would say that I mean I'm kind of giving myself a little pat on the back, but like, I would say like I'm a lot cooler, like have that essence, that like character, something that like is bigger than just a person and music. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, man. Oh, my dog is making too much noise. But what was I gonna say? Hell yeah, bro. It's definitely like it kind of even goes back to like what we were talking about earlier with people like the Trumpster, like kind of like having even like that wrestling type aura, like that like larger
Exactly.
than life shit, appeal to the crowd shit. And you know
Exactly.
what? I relate to you a lot. And it's funny, like you're just speaking and like I feel you, because I've been doing this shit since I was 14 and I haven't made music in a year, but I've failed a couple times over internally, even though people can't really see it from the outside. And like now I'm thinking of myself as an artist because I do this pod shit, but this isn't, I like to, I still consider myself a creator musically. And so with that shit, bro, it's kind of just like failing over and over again. And now you like plan. I feel you. I have to plan too when it comes to this shit. I'm like, damn, like, like what am I gonna go for? What sound do I want to go for this time? What do I want to give off? What do I want to present? And then there's also a part of me who's like, who gives a fuck? Just do whatever that you feel in the moment and just let it be you. But that's also very hard to keep a consistent discography that way. And sometimes consistent discography is considered marketable. So, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of I mean, honestly, man, like, you can probably relate to this as well, but like, you get so far down the rabbit hole and then you one day you wake up and you're just like, why the fuck am I doing what I'm doing? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why don't I just quit everything and go fucking work at McDonald's or something, dude? Like, yeah, you know what I'm
Word,
saying,
it's
bro? Like,
yes, you it's so funny you say that. I've said that before, and people always look at me like, "What are you talking about?" Because people, I don't know, the people around me always think I'm like really fucking dope at what I do, and I'm just like, I don't ever believe them. I don't believe anybody. I'm always very hard on myself. So I'll be like, yeah, like I don't even know why I do this shit sometimes. Like it's just like, what am I even fucking doing? People just
mm,
like, what the fuck? But you gotta remember, like, what is it? You ever watched a Bronx Tale?
I have not, bro.
It's a good movie. I mean, I just watched it recently, so like it's not like something that like people watch like
Actually, I
casually.
isn't it doesn't it have the same actor that's in Goodfellas and like a lot of other mafia movies?
Yeah, Robert De Niro's in
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know
Yeah,
of the movie. I know what you're talking about.
yeah. And what does the guy say? One of them says like, "There's nothing worse than like wasted potential" or some shit. And he or some shit like that was what his father used to tell him or some shit like that. One of the actors. And yeah, man. I mean, it rings true. It's like that's what keeps me going. It's like I'd be thinking like, damn, why do I do this shit? Why don't I just fucking quit and like take all the stress off my back sometimes? And then again, it's like, it's nothing worse than wasted potential.
And it's like also like I mean, I was having a conversation with another a collaborator, and I was talking about and honestly, this other like this you ever heard of Sweetwater Music or whatever? Like they sell like a bunch of equipment and shit like that. It's like a pretty big website, but anyway, like this dude like called me and he was just we were talking and he was like telling me how I just need to like level up and like you need to get some speakers and I was just telling him about my stuff and he's right, what I'm saying? I mean, obviously he was trying to make a business, opportunity or whatever, but like, he was right and just saying like you need to level up and shit. And like when you get back into that like kind of like mode of like you need to like get more gear and you need to like pick up the pace, you kind of like get back into the mode of like when you first started and when you didn't have nothing, dude. And like sometimes I think about that shit and I'm like, bro, if I would have known like what I was getting myself into, bro, I don't know if I would have like kept it going. But like, it was always that like like that image or like that meme or like that picture or whatever of like it's like this gold digger and he's like has a pickaxe and he's like so close to like getting to the diamond and he like doesn't know and he's like walking away.
Yeah, and the other one, yeah.
It's like that type of shit where you like and sometimes it's like hard to know if like you really are that close or if like you got like fucking, so I mean this is kind of getting like demotivating
No,
in a
no,
way,
no.
but
I
like
mean, it's so funny that you say this because it's the stuff that I think about on the daily when it comes to everything I do. It's like how close am I to where I want to be? But it's like you keep going because you just want to find out.
and then like you scroll through social media and this isn't like trying to hate on nobody or anything, but like I don't know. I mean, I think it's like little niche, like hobbies, like I don't know, being an actor, being an artist, being a YouTuber, stuff like that. Being a podcaster, being, like everybody wants to do that nowadays, and like it's very competitive and like it's like oversaturated. I think at some points, and and then it kind of gets to the point where like, and then honestly, bro, like. I'm not even gonna lie. I was watching your interview, bro, and like just like the similar type of shit and like the story that you had and just like saying like that like and like you realize that there really is like a lot of people in this world that are on the same exact shit as you are and like you really are not shit. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like, it's like a humbling moment. You know what I'm saying? Not that I'm like getting jealous of you or anything like that, but it was like a humbling moment of like, as an artist, sometimes you think you're so unique and you think you're so like cool and you think you're so special and all this, and then you like hear other people's stories and you're like what they got going on and like what they got in the tuck, and it's also like, collaborations, like people that are on the same shit as you want to reach out and like collab with them and shit. But it's like I, eh, I don't know really what I'm trying to say, I guess, but like, sometimes you think that like, you kind of have this like, like Disney World like fantasy in your head that you're gonna blow up and you're gonna be so special and like, you're gonna have your shine and like all this, but then like you really realize like how far like it takes and like all these steps and all
And
this,
you
and then
gotta,
it's just yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of people pursuing the same thing, you know? It's a lot of steps. It's all about connections and the connections you make and shit like that. It's kind of crazy. I mean, there's obviously the rare occasions where some people just do that shit straight from their bedroom and nothing's impossible, obviously. I think everything's possible. But yeah, it's crazy. And but the thing what the podcast is supposed to do is it isn't supposed to like isolate people with that idea. It's supposed to like it's supposed to create community, you know? It's like we're all going through this same shit. We're all in the same group, you know? None of us are ahead of each other, even like because it's not a numbers game. We're all trying to create, you know? So hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and what I meant with that is just that, we all want to feel special, I guess, at the end of the day. And I would say just that hip hop and like being an artist is probably one of the most competitive out of a lot of like, I mean, probably an actor, maybe like if you get really up there, I'm sure it's probably
Yeah.
pretty cutthroat. But like, and it definitely can bring it brings the worst out of you. And not even like people say fame brings the worst out of you, which I really believe. I think a lot of like the deadly sins, like all those things like lust and like, it's still like certain things that like are bringing out of you when you have authority and you have like an image and you kind of have like a master key to all these doors and shit like that. But
Yeah.
even just like the kind of like, I would say just kind of like the I don't know, I have like this image of like, someone like just jumping on screen and just kind of like please let me have like my shine, like you know what I mean? Like and that definitely that kind of like need or like want persists with everybody in this. And when everyone's like fighting for the shine, it just like it gets very like political, I guess you could say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. Um yeah, I mean, I feel you. I've even like being in this shit for however many years, you see it firsthand, you know, you see the competitiveness and you see how people can be. I mean, even you don't even need the fucking like I feel you though, like when people do get like fame and shit, they do like push everything to the fullest extremity, you know? But I've seen like little fucking underground kids be like assholes and just act entitled and act full of themselves, you know? Because they
Yeah.
have like what, 1,000 followers, like, you know, or they fucking lead a fucking collective or some stupid shit, you know? So it's like
And
it's
I
go ahead.
and I feel that, bro. And I feel like, I don't want to seem like, sometimes you watch podcasts and people like talk about their problems and you're just kind of like, dude, you're just a hater. Like you just need to like move past this situation and just like accept things for what they are. And like I think that's definitely kind of one of those things in like hip hop and all this is like artists get so pressed up about things. And like I've been there. We all, we're human and like we're all flawed, bro, like so badly. You know what I mean? But like um you just kind of one of those things you got to just like throw over your shoulder, like it's all over. You know what I mean? Just like
Yeah, and even though like I feel like music inherently you have to embrace the marketing side and the competitive like political side of it all, but I don't know. I feel like I don't even know if it's possible, but like to take the approach of just creating for you, like organically creating and shit like that. Obviously, with a little bit of promotion and marketing and stuff like that. Like I feel like that would be the healthiest approach because when you get so wrapped up into like what fucking DJ Academics is saying or what rapper is going this number or doing this shit, bro. Or even like if you're even on a smaller scale, just looking at like other people's followings and likes and shit, that shit is what like I don't know. I can't do that shit because that is what discourages me as an artist to want to create. when I make it like a numbers game or like a horse race, you know?
And it's like I think it's a little and I get what you're saying and to kind of just go on to that, like it's not even deeper as like a numbers game, but more like you just wrote a rap and then you hear somebody else that like rhyme the same words together and you're like, man, I thought that was hard, but like, it's like it's kind of just like a laughing moment because it's like we're all human and we're like not special, bro. Like we all are coming up with the same fucking shit in our head. And like how many times has somebody made the same exact song, use the same sample, like you know what I mean? And like you definitely have to like just take
And it's
that. Yeah.
definitely yeah, it's definitely prone to happen. Fucking what, 300 million people in the United States and 8 fucking 9 billion people in the world or whatever the fuck, however it works. 300 million, 8 fucking billion. It's a lot of people, a lot of big numbers. So of course, yeah, we imagine it's definitely possible, and it's definitely funny how yeah, I mean, even if you think of humanity as one consciousness, we definitely have overlapping ideas in that sense. So it's crazy, but it's funny. It is funny. You do have to just laugh it off, you know?
Yeah.
Like fucking, you know how many people in 2017 used that now stupid NASCAR line or whatever the fuck? You know, talking about NASCARs, fast cars. It wasn't cool. It wasn't. But anywho, um, I realized that my high ass hasn't even been asking a lot of questions. It's kind of just been like an organic conversation, which is fine.
Not I feel that, bro. And I smoked before too, so I think we're kind of all both on the same level right now. Just like talking, but I think I've done like, we like it's been a pretty good conversation so far, and I've been articulating and kind of getting into a lot of these questions anyway. So
Hell yeah. I mean, yeah, you've definitely been like, I feel like even you kind of go like on a tangent and you bring it right back around. So it's like, I think it drives the point home, It's because like, all right, here's my point. I'm proving it. You don't even know I'm proving it. It's proved. So it's really dope, you know?
There's a point to all the madness, I promise. You just gotta
Yeah.
let me articulate for a second.
Hell yeah, man. So, shit. I'm high as a motherfucker. What was I gonna say? So, what do you got coming up now? Because I'm not gonna lie, I haven't went through your discography or anything like that. Because this was very sudden. We scheduled
Yeah,
this like
yeah.
yesterday.
Not for
So,
real.
I mean, what do you got? I mean, what pieces of work do you stand on right now? How many projects, EPs, or just singles right now?
So, I mean, like I said, a lot of the stuff on my SoundCloud doesn't really represent me as an artist right now, but I have that tape with Phony, What a Night for Delight, and that's what it's called. I have a tape that I produced by myself called Reminiscence, and that's like a little glimpse of that kind of 90s or 20s, 30s, 40s type of jazz shit. And then I have a tape called The Creepy Case of No Face, and these are all just like, yeah, like that project. Sorry, I'll just keep it brief. And that project like didn't end up getting mixed, and so it's kind of like unprofessional. But like those three bodies of work are like really my tapes, and then I have like a bunch of singles. If you go back, I have a couple like unreleased joints that never got mixed, or like something like fell through, like stems or you know whatever it was. And then I have about three or four, would say, songs that I've released this year just as singles, and I would say those really kind of like showcase what I can do, and those are about kind of like a year old. But yeah, I mean, I would say like like at least the four songs on my SoundCloud, and then like the feature that I have with an artist named Chester Watson, I would say that song's pretty hard. Feature that I have with Nasty on there on my SoundCloud's pretty hard as well. And I would say that's kind of like the essence of what I have right now. And then what I got going, whew, I mean, I got a lot going, bro. I would say like just putting this out there, like you grow with this shit as you keep going and you like really learn how to like, get a set schedule going and like how to build up music and how to like really have a proper like rollout. And that's kind of like where I'm at right now. And always a big problem with me is like getting mixing and like engineers to like come through and like get a consistent engineer behind me because I don't like to just send my shit to random engineers all the time. And like I really am like crucial and like very critical of like mixing, and I like to like have my sound what it like, and I like to have the best type of person behind the chair, like, and like because of that playback, ability, and like just really wanting to like make everything sound good. So like, just like, and this isn't any shade, but like everyone's busy, everyone's booking clients, like, especially engineers. So it's like, sorry, Warren, Mr. 100 plays, dude. I don't have time for you, bro. And I understand that, but it's like, I want that engineer behind me. So that's like been really slowing up my process and it's been kind of a headache. But
So you're like in the midst of like polishing your sound is what like
definitely.
yeah, I feel
Uh,
you.
But I mean, as far as like moves I can speak on, like, one of the big reasons why I'm like getting on podcasts and like DMing you is because I have this new tape, and I guess I'll leak a little bit of information, but like I said, Curb Goop, he is like we made a whole tape together. It's 4 songs. It's all my production. And I really had a it was this was last summer. I had a lot of fun making this shit, and I would just like go to work, and then I would just like, scheme and like listen to whatever we made the night before or whatever. And then I would like I made so many fucking beats for Curb, bro. And I really was like pick the four that I fucked with the most. And it was just so like articulate with how I made the tape. And then um so now I'm like trying to promote that. I've got some different type of advertising, like really cool things, like a big surprise for that. And that's just gonna be a big deal. Um
That's dope, man. With Curb Goop, that's dope. That's not that's so sick. Another another like fucking artist that you admire, or you look up to, and that you get to fucking have an opportunity to collaborate with is so sick.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to say one thing too is Curb is such a good guy, man. Like he is such a good collaborator. And a lot of times in the industry you're worried about giving your money to the wrong people. But like, I've and me and Curb are tapped in. I mean, we have one other song that isn't on the tape that we did recently that I would say really showcases what I can do. And that song's so hard. I be listening to that shit all the time. But yeah, I mean, he's just a really guy to work with, and he's just quick and he tells you like if he's got some shit going on. And so hats off to Curb because like I really love working with Curb.
Hell yeah, man. That's dope. And that's
Mhm.
so sick. I mean, I was the reason why I was really intrigued or interested too to why like I wanted to know what was going on or what was coming up is because you made it like very like a point that everything that you feel is on your discography now is kind of like non representative of what you want to be and where you're going and where you are and stuff. So that's always cool to like anticipate what's new that's coming.
Mhm.
And I feel you even like myself, I feel like I'm in that same thing. Like my SoundCloud now, I feel like half all those songs don't really hold a place or like a relevancy or an accuracy to me at all. So I feel
No,
you.
definitely. And then just to kind of sum it up, I don't want to give off too much because I really like the shock value when you drop stuff and like when you don't talk about it. And like I think a lot of people post their their moves or whatever, and they don't post their wins or you know.
Yo, that's true. Hell yeah.
But there's this one producer named Olam, and we've been tapped in for like a couple years now. And he's from Canada. He's hella hard. And we just tapped in. He was doing free beat collabs. Saw that he was collabing with a lot of people. And so we got a tape coming, and then we got another tape of this other artist named Maxwell the Custodian, and that shit's like probably the biggest tape I've ever like done. It's like a whole ass album. And it's gonna be like 15 to like 20 songs or like maybe like less, whatever, all year, just like happening with those. And then I have this other tape named called it's gonna be called Carpet Covets, and that's with this other producer named Joe King, and he's from the UK as well. Um, I'm trying to think. There's more. Like I said, that Trumpster, and then I also have a artist named Bushido. He's on there. Um, fuck. And then I have some like other tapes, but I like that are done have fire features on them as well. But I don't want to like give it off because it's pretty big. And I mean that pretty much like sums up what I got going on right now. I've been working on, and then been working on this one tape with Jimmy V. You know who Jimmy V is?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah. Well, I know because you said you're like a fan of Lil Peep, but he collabed with Lil. He's a Peep collaborator,
Was
but
he
he's
was he he was on that one EP, wasn't he? He was on Dead Broke? Was he on Dead
yeah,
Broke? Yeah.
yeah. That 3 track EP. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And he's hella fire. I fuck with Jimmy V. So I've been like making some shit for Jimmy V, and then um honestly like so much shit. Like, just a lot of singles, a lot of random shit where I just like hit up a bunch of YouTube producers, hit up people just trying to work for free and just connect and whatever. And so I got a bunch of just like in the features, obviously. People definitely need to go check all my SoundCloud because all my reposts and likes and like all the shit that I like and repost is stuff that I'm on. So people need to go peep them features.
Hell yeah. Man, you are very hard at work, it sounds like. Those are a lot of tapes and big projects you're working on. Nothing it was like, oh yeah, I'm working on a single or anything like that. It was like, yeah, no, it's like project, tape features, you know? You're hard at work right now.
Mhm.
And how do you I mean, like, how do you fit all that into time into your regular day to day?
Well, I'm gonna keep it about okay. So I go to college too, right? On top of all this shit,
Right.
and so like, bro, I'm like, I try to like balance that shit, and I work too. So like, I try to balance all those shits, and like, pretty much just school gets neglected, and I fucking fail, and like, I don't know. I'm like, not that my parents are like pissed at me, but like, definitely have not had the best run with college. But like, I'm gonna finish and graduate, and that's definitely on my top priority. So that's kind of a bummer because I have just so much music over the past like year that I made that like I have a really good rollout for like probably in the next couple months and like up until like school and shit. But I just need to like honestly just get serious about school and graduate and then I can like bring it back with all this shit. But
Hell yeah.
as far as like all that shit, I mean, just like being dedicated, man, and like not sleeping, and that's not good. People, you need your sleep, bro, but just not sleeping and like just being so like, because like, bro, you go like, you know how it be. You go to work, you come home, you have like 4 hours to do whatever the fuck you want, and then you go to bed. You wake up late as fuck because you're fucking tired, and then you're like, fuck, I gotta go to work. You got
Yeah.
like 4 hours, bro, and then so it's like I come home, I get them 4 hours, and I'm tired, but I'm like, nah, like it ain't time, like it ain't time to go to bed, bro. I want to keep creating. I want to keep getting high and fucking listening to sounds and vinyl and fucking, and then you go to work the next day, you're fucking tired as shit, but you're just like, man, now I can fucking listen to this shit I made all night. And like, I don't know, bro, just like going hard as fuck. And like, you know, uh, but with that said, that candle eventually burns out, bro. Your body will like fucking shit the bed, dude. And you're
Yeah.
like, it's kind of like hard to really like calculate whether like doing that and going really like balls to the wall and then like you're like, I recently just had surgery on my appendix, had to get that shit out.
Yeah.
So then it was like that's been kind of like delaying me. So it's like your body will like fucking you can't, you ain't young forever, like you're not invincible. So like it's just hard, bro. But just really been trying to like fucking go hard, bro.
Hell yeah, man. And even with the toll that it takes, I really appreciate or admire your work ethic. You're very to it, It's like, all right, bam, 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 type shit.
This is gonna I hope this doesn't fucking come off corny, but this is just like one thing that really fucking stuck with me. Is like you go back to the No Jumper fucking Suicide Boys interview and like Adam's fucking talking about like I know this is probably kind of a sensitive topic right now, but Adam was fucking talking about like oh you gotta like nerd out. You gotta like you really gotta nerd out with this shit. And then like Scrim and Rui were like, yeah, like everyone wants to go out and fucking party and like, you're in your like late early 20s. Everyone's fucking partying and having fun and like, whatever it is. But like, we're out here fucking like spending every single fucking time, like minute we can, like doing this shit. And like, you know what I'm saying? And like, I'll even put you on like to some, like you said, Phony Wallace, right? Like,
I
I would,
mean, I know of him. I don't know him directly.
where, but like, I really got a sense of like watching Phony. I mean, he definitely had a lot of shit going when I, really stumbled across him and got invested. But like, I mean, watching that man work, bro, and like just seeing like the steps that he took and like how hard he works and like what he like consistency and like just seeing like the building blocks, like definitely kind of was like, I gotta work harder. Like, I gotta like, you know, so
Hell yeah. I'm in dude, I I just turned 20 in February and that shit is so true. I mean, like I just moved over here and now I'm like near all my friends and all these music people that I followed for months and shit and stuff like that. And people are very party oriented, like people just want to get fucked up and shit. There's people who do that and create. There's people who create and don't get fucked up, but there's just some people who are part of the scene. They don't even make music and they just want to get fucked up. A lot of people want to get fucked up and party and all that shit, but I really admire and I really fuck with and I'm the same way. I don't go out or anything like that. I'm hardworking. I like to just spend my time working on the pod. I'm trying to get back into music. I feel that, and I'm a big one of my big inspirations is Henry Rollins, fucking lead singer of Black Flag, back way back when in yesteryear. And he's like very adamant about like how hardworking he was when he was doing all his shit back in like the old punk days in the 80s, and how he's still like that to this day and how much shit he does and shit like that. Not to go on like a huge tangent, but
Mm,
it's just really inspiring. And what you're saying and like you bringing it up from another interview is also really dope because like I've been on the same shit and I admire that same like value, that same morale.
mm. Yeah, definitely. And I want to I want to say another thing too is like this is on some different shit, but this just crosses my mind because this like adds to it. But like I remember like for a point in time I was really depressed and like I would just get on my computer and I would like make a sample, like I'd flip a sample and I'd just be like, well, this ain't getting done today. And then I would get high and fucking play video games or fuck around and whatever. And then like eventually that shit builds up and then like you're depressed because you're not on shit and you spend fucking 20 minutes a day making beats and you never like get the shit out. So you're
Right.
depressed. And then that just like further, it's like a cycle of depression of like you're not doing shit, so you're depressed. But like as soon as I was like, okay, like motherfucker, I'm gonna sit down and make this beat and I'm not getting off my fucking chair until this shit's done.
Right.
Or okay, I'm gonna do this, like writing it down. All right, I'm gonna fucking do this shit, and then like seeing shit come to fruition and like really fucking grinding, bro. And then like then when you can actually like go out and party, bro, like and you do it like on a very like low scale, you're like fucked up, dude, and you're like hanging out with everyone, and everyone's like, oh, bro, like I haven't seen you forever, bro. What are you doing? And you're just like, bro, I don't have the time to fucking sit down and even tell you what I'm fucking doing because I've been fucking grinding when you partying. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it makes it like fun because it's like, bro, I'll be on some shit. You know what I mean? And you're just like fucked up.
What sucks is like when you go out and like it's a shitty time and you like realize that you're like, damn, the whole time that I was outside having a shitty time, I could have just been at home working,
Yeah, facts,
you know?
facts. Nah, I definitely
So
felt that as well. Definitely felt that a
I
lot.
feel you, bro. And yeah, it is funny when you do pop out, people be so shocked to see you, like the one time out of nowhere. Like, oh
Mm,
shit, it's you.
mm.
I only ever see you on TV. No, yeah, but it's like I only ever see you on a screen type shit. But yeah, but I appreciate, I admire that morale, man. It's good work ethic, and not everyone has that, So to see you have it kind of easily installed in you, it's dope.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how you were you always like this? Or was it something that you kind of like was instilled in you?
Well, I remember like when I was a kid, bro. Like I don't know. I mean, like on God, like my dad, probably one of the like the hardest working motherfuckers I know, bro. Like this man was always just like doing overtime and like just like I mean, for lack of a better term, like working his life away because he's just like he's a hard worker and he doesn't let people down and like like I mean, I'm sure he likes money. My dad's not like obsessed with money like Mr. Krabs type shit, but like like and I learned that shit from my dad, bro. And like I just remember like back in the day when you would be like, you know, this is kind of like a funny story. Everyone would probably relate to this if you have a sibling, but like, you know, clean or whatever. And I would just be like, I mean, and not to discredit, my brother's a hard ass worker, like my brother's very hardworking, but like, back in the day when you're kids and shit and you're trying to play video games and you're trying to just be doing your own shit, like my brother was always just like, bro, fuck that shit. And I would just be like, nah, like, let's do this, man. Like, let's get out there. And like, I don't know, like just doing like little jobs over the years. I was always just been a hard worker of like actually something that I give a fuck about.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm a very task driven person. So like I feel you, Like when it
Mhm,
comes to that shit. It fucking comes from early on. That's dope. It's sick as fuck, man. It's dope to have a conversation with someone like minded,
mhm,
I
definitely.
mean
Yeah.
it comes more often than not with the podcast and stuff like that. So it's always dope. But like it's cool to just, resonate on that level and shit like that. Um Before anything, I feel like we're kind of coming close to finishing it up. Oh, I wanted to ask, and I completely forgot. I kind of realized this was me like going on your Instagram and shit because you have this episode and you have 2 episodes or like 2 interviews with other podcasts, right?
Mhm.
So like, what is this like venture that you're on right now of like getting on a bunch of interviews?
Well, I mean, like I said, this is my very first interview I've ever done as Warren K. So,
Hell
you
yeah.
you got that first that first exclusive look. But it's really just to promote this project with Curb because I just feel so strongly about it. And um I'm just trying to kind of like get out there and like I don't know, like as artists we just get trapped into just making music.
Right.
Sorry, I've been fucking burp like I don't know what the fuck's going on this whole interview, but
No, I feel you. I mean, I feel you.
but and just trying to get into these people's faces, and just for like the dedicated fans, because I'm a huge interview dude. Like I will watch your interview from fucking back to front, and I will watch that motherfucker over and over and over, and
Over and over again.
yeah, and like just analyze people and like watch their moves, and then like do the whole discog like you look at their discography and they're like, okay, so around this time he was making this move, and like he was doing this, and like I really have it all like graphed out. I
Yeah, it
like
kind of gives you a whole better perception of like this artist and where their timeline.
uh like researching people,
Yeah.
Um, but I think that shit's cool. But I would say mainly it's just to promote this project because I just feel very like strong about it, and I just got a lot of shit. I mean, fuck. I'll speak on it. So like I won't say that the movie like as a kid I was like would watch like VHS and shit, and so I always remember watching this certain movie, and like this was when I was a hella young because like this was like late 2000s, like when VHSs were still around.
Yeah.
Um, and so I've like got into contact with an actor that was in that movie that the tape is based off of. That's gonna like yeah, it's like a little cameo or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I got like, I got like different shit, like just different type of advertising ideas.
All right,
And
that's
like,
sick.
just like trying to like really hype up this project and shit.
I get you. Yeah, you're taking multiple marketing strategies even in your own like little in your own way. That's sick, man. I kind of like I like that. Not I kind of I like that. It's something that I feel like a lot of artists have trouble with, like making those type of like bigger picture moves, Like kind of
Definitely.
like being the artist and then being like being the artist, but then also being like kind of like a puppeteer of the artist and like kind of like everything beyond the artist and the album and stuff like that.
Mm.
Sick. You're like really controlling that shit. But yeah, now we're kind of leaning towards the wrap up, but before we like have our final question and stuff like that, and there's things that we didn't touch on that I would like to, but like time is limiting.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
but overall, is there anything that we didn't cover in this interview today that you would like to talk about, tap on, discuss really quick before we
Yeah.
wrap this up?
Yeah. One more thing just to add on that I was gonna say is like, I think there's like a lot of like shame or like, people like frown upon people that pay for features and shit and like, pay for work. And I mean, like people have their own like type of like, journey and like what they, like how they do business and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to like hit on nobody, but like, I've always just kind of had like I've learned throughout the years to just been like, okay, I want something done. I'm gonna fucking ask the person how much he wants for it, and I'm gonna get it fucking done.
Right,
Because a lot of people like sit around and they're like, oh, like I would like to work with fucking da 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 da, but they would never ask them for how much. They would never pay. Like they would never fucking actually make it happen. And like they're banking on like, oh, I'll just outwork him and I'll get bigger, and then they're gonna hit me up. Like, and a lot of times that shit don't work, bro. Or like
right,
who knows? Like they might just not fucking like your music, bro. But like when you pay for a feature, it's like, yeah, dude, I'm forcing you to get on my fucking song because I'm a fan of yours and I want this to fucking happen.
right,
And like, and so I mean, I have no shame in it. Like, I'll say up front, like, yeah, I paid for that feature. Yeah, I did this because it's like, well, you don't have the feature, bro, and you wanted to work with them, and I worked with them because I fucking bought the feature, and like it's a wrap, you know.
right. Exactly.
So, but anyway, yeah, I mean that's about it. I mean, I would say we had a great interview, great conversation. Hopefully, I didn't talk too much or
No,
articulate, but
I this interview, like, it's fun. I think I have the most fun when interviews are long and it's a bunch of conversation and a bunch of different shit, you know?
Mhm.
It's those are the fun, most in-depth ones. And yeah, man, I fuck with you. I fuck with your approach to this whole shit. You're like, we're very alike. And I've learned that through this interview. Even like with like, oh, I have no shame. Like I do this, I do that. Who gives a fuck, Because I work with like I feel you. Like put your ego aside because there's no reason for it type shit. I
Mhm.
fuck with it. Yeah. Um hell yeah, this was a great interview. It was a great conversation. I was kind of like a little out of it. And
He was a little uncertain.
no, I'm a little out of it,
Okay,
fucking, but
okay.
it's not because I smoked a fat bong in the beginning of this interview. It's because I'm tired
Yeah,
because I have work and I worked yesterday, you know. But
but
anywho, it was a great conversation. Dude, you're very well articulated. You explained the kind of like your whole thing you got going on and everything before pretty well. Like you pretty to everything that I feel like we needed to know to learn Warren K at least on a certain level.
definitely.
I think we even have like a lot of bases to touch up, like to have another interview in the future,
That'll be
and
sick, bro. Yeah,
and catch up and even discuss more about stuff that I feel like we didn't get to discuss in this interview and stuff
sure.
like that. But it was a great convo and it was a great episode. And now that we have almost wrapped it up, this is the final question, which is Warren K, what do you got going on in the next day, week, month, year, decade, century, millennium? And it doesn't have to be music related. It could be what you're eating for breakfast tomorrow. Just give us what you got.
Um, well, so the next week I'm about to go back to work because I've still been like healing from that surgery and shit. So I'll go back to work, get back to the grind, be, a lot more adamant about getting music done, shit like that. Um, I pretty much feel like I've announced, like the things that I haven't said or, anything like that. But yeah, I would say just wanted to leave on this note is just I would say like anybody that's interested in my sound and like invested in me, like I'm not going anywhere, even though I might have like another patch, a rough patch of like music that where I don't have music or, whatever. But I would say like, I'm really for like the SoundCloud culture. I only post on SoundCloud. Like I want to be for the new generations and I want to work with new generations of artists and I want to like be here to stay, so like I'm always going to be around. It just might take me a minute to get around and post some music and, whatever it is. So just stick around, I think, come back to this interview in years to come and you'll still like it'll be pretty relatable and I won't seem like, totally different or, it'll like it'll be good with my fans to come back to this interview and listen to it. And
Yeah, it'll
yeah,
age well.
definitely.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And that's dope. And my favorite thing about interviews and about why I do interviews is like kind of like preserving a moment in time. And this time will be rare one day when you're a more evolved artist with a bigger following and stuff, So it's really cool.
uh, yeah, man.
Hell
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you,
Now,
Mikey. I really appreciate you letting me on here, but I know it's uncertain. You don't really know sometimes, and I feel like you were pretty open. And then I kind of watched, like I was like a little like sketched out because I was like, was he gonna like tell me like what the does he want me to provide? I was like, but then I went and watched the podcast, and then I was like, okay, like he brings his own questions. He's kind of like, he asked the five, and I feel like after that five, it's kind of like you should have explained what you what you wanted to explain. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I know I'll let you get ready for too long. But I would say, can you send me this? Like email it to me or like maybe air or fuck not airdrop, uh yeah, I just wanted to like watch it.
Yeah, I could send you the raw, like I'll send you just the unedited video
Yeah,
and send it to you. I'll
yeah,
send it to this email that I have you. Whatever.
yeah,
Beyond that, I got you. I'll try my best because sometimes these like files are really big. I don't think
yeah,
this
yeah,
one,
yeah,
but I'll try. I'll figure
definitely.
it out.
Yeah.
Beyond that, yeah, man, it was a dope fucking episode, and it's so funny because usually I have like a generic structure to kind of follow when like I need it, and we kind of talked so much and talked about so much dope beyond shit, like beyond what the usual shit is that like I didn't get to ask like, oh, inspirations or like shit like that, like shit that I usually ask all the time. So we definitely gotta touch up again on another episode. And It was, but that means this was a dope episode because when
Yeah,
you could ditch that whole bullet point system and just talk and talk and talk for an hour, that's where you get like the best, more most organic shit, you know. And
definitely.
I'm glad that you took the time to like watch beforehand and like because I don't know, I feel like people get even like anxious on the pod because they never watched the podcast and like they expect me to be like a different type of interviewer, but everything's really chill, and I'm glad that you had that pretense, you know.
Mhm.
Hell yeah. Beyond that, I'll wrap it up now, which was that this was the Cult of Personality podcast hosted by yours truly, Mikeymcchoppa. With me today was Warren K. Thank you for sitting with me for the last hour or so. This was a great episode, great conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Mikey. I really appreciate it, bro.
Hell yeah. Thank you, people sitting, listening, or watching on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. Blah. Thank you for being here and attending and being loyal. And happy Mikey Monday. And we'll see you next week with another guest. It's supposed to be a returning guest, which is a first on the pod. Let's see if that if that comes to be to fruition. So we'll see that next week. Anywho, all is well. Peace and love. And hell yeah. See you next week. Happy Mikey Monday. Peace, peace. Love and
Yes,
hair
sir.
grease.